In this video, I will show you how to route your signal to any of the hardware in Studio 3, whether that be from the Soundcraft or from Pro Tools, and I will show you a few examples of each. When using the send and returns on a channel, the insert send is actually always on, but the return needs to be activated if you want the signal to return to the console. To do so, press the insert button that is here on the EQ section of the channel. This isn't necessary if you're going to patch your signal directly into Pro Tools. I'll discuss that later in this video. The inputs from the breakout box are normaled into the Soundcraft inputs, and even though it looks like the direct outs aren't normal to anything, 1 through 16 are actually normaled into the interface, but need to be engaged by depressing the DIR button below the Aux 8 knob on that channel. The group outs, not the Aux outs, are also normaled into this interface in inputs 1 through 8. To learn about the difference between the aux and group routing for this console, that video is linked down below in the description box. You can also patch the direct outs into the interface using patch cables. You can also patch the auxes or group sends into any of the hardware before patching into Pro Tools. The basic path of this routing is to patch from your send to the input of your hardware, and then patch from the output of the hardware back to the return on your channel. I'll show you a couple examples of routing to the outboard gear. In the first scenario, I'm sending signal from Pro Tools into the Soundcraft channel 25, and I'm going to send that signal to the DBX compressor and return it to the same channel. We have two compressors in here, and the one on the left here is the top one in the rack, and the one on the right is the bottom one in the rack. They each have two inputs, so you can send either a mono or stereo signal. Then we patch from the output back into the return to channel 25. When you have a stereo signal, the concept is the same. Here I'm going to patch it from the output of the DBX directly into Pro Tools. If you're using this routing to record directly into Pro Tools and want to listen to that signal from Pro Tools, you need to be careful about your routing in order to avoid a feedback loop. So here I've laid out in simple terms how you should be doing this routing. In the track that you are sending to the hardware, you want to have no input and to choose output 1. That signal is being sent to your hardware, and to record it back, you want to record it into Pro Tools input 1, so you patch it into input 1 and select that input on the second track. Then you want to select your output to output 2 to send that to the Soundcraft, so you just want to be making sure that you're not sending more than one signal to your in or your output. The concept is the same with a stereo track, but using 4 outputs instead of 2. Here is that same routing shown in Pro Tools. You just want to be sure that the output you're sending to the hardware is different from the output you're sending to the monitors. This routing concept is the same whether you're sending signal to the Soundcraft first and then to the hardware, or if you're patching directly from Pro Tools to the hardware as seen here. Here's an example of patching a group through the compressor and then into Pro Tools. With the group and the auxes, you have to patch directly from your hardware to Pro Tools because there are no send and returns like there are on the individual channels.